Yes, so as David said, I was producing the Funding the Commons residency, and one thing that is very important for us is to put our builders in touch with local actors, because local actors know the local context, they know the cultural differences, the regulation differences, they simply know how people work and live on the ground, and that's why it's very important for us to connect them with our builders, so they really get to understand the real challenges that these actors face, and so they can build solutions that answer real needs and have strong market fit. So I was looking for organizations working in RealFi, because RealFi is the theme of Funding the Commons this year. And thanks to Blockchain Acceleration Foundation, I got in touch with Belén Burgstaller from Mujeres 2000. And Mujeres 2000 is an organization that provides microcredits for women entrepreneurs. So it was the perfect fit. And we put them in touch with our residents, Sebastian and Fernando. And Fernando brought another alliance with Arun from UNICEF in the mix. And we took this collaboration even one step further by bringing everyone to IAE Business School when we run a live case study that Hector will give you more information about.
Well, thank you, Charlotte, for the introduction. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's better that the slide is not working, I think. But anyway, let's start with the introduction. When David called me a month ago, thanks to Javier Garcia Sanchez, I know he is here, because he knows someone from the university to connect. So instead of delivering a conference, I mentioned to him, why don't we do a live case, an experience? So here we can show an experience rather than tell how to do things. So with this story, underline this approach. It's working now? Okay, thank you. So we decided to have this title is a multi-stakeholder approach for the common good, and to share with you the life case experience. So if the slides are not working, I was just telling you what is all this about.
And first, let's do a quick round of intros.
I'm sorry, I saw the introduction, you have done it. Okay, I will introduce them, so I need to, or do you prefer?
Okay. Cada persona, como 15, 30 segundos.
Okay, so when we decide this, we decided 2 live cases in 15 days ago. So one was Mujeres 2000, Belu is the representative of Mujeres 2000 here. And then the idea was to bring together the founders, in this case, Belu and Mujeres 2000, together with the builders. And here we have Sebastian and Fernando. But also the idea was to have Funding the Commons and those who are supporting Funding the Commons, and finally the international organizations, just to scale up the impact. So in this case we have Arun with us. Thank you for being with us. And well, the second live case was Funding the Commons, so David was one of the protagonists and some people there as well. But we decided here just to present the experience of Mujeres 2000, okay? Is that okay with the introduction? Okay, great. So, I don't know, is that work or I need just...
Tal vez cada persona se introduce como 30 segundos.
Who?
Cada persona.
Okay, yeah, sure, please.
Ok, bueno, gracias por invitarnos. Para nosotros fue un proceso muy enriquecedor. Mi nombre es Belén, trabajo en el rol de la dirección ejecutiva de Mujeres 2000, que en un ratito le vamos a contar un poco más qué es, pero bueno, estamos muy contentas de participar.
Thank you. My name is Hector Rocha, Professor of Strategy and General Business in IAE Business School.
Ok, bueno, mi nombre es Sebastian Ramirez, trabajo en Celo Colombia y vengo desarrollando una aplicación de préstamos peer-to-peer entre personas.
Mi nombre es Fernando Boiero, soy CTO y co-founder de Xcapit. En Xcapit hacemos soluciones con impacto. Trabajando con el UNICEF Innovation Fund ya hace 4 años atrás, y hacemos distintos proyectos normalmente con impacto.
Hey everyone, I'm Arun. I work for the UNICEF Ventures team within the Office of Innovation. I'm the blockchain lead.
Okay, well, thank you very much. This is like chess. We are just co-creating in the middle of the panel. But that's great. Okay, well, if it works, I will just tell you about the slide. So that's the title of our project. So the idea here is just to show you, if it works, is that the way? Okay. Here is what a classical teaching and then innovation nowadays are showing us. The important thing when you see this chart is you have Aristotle there saying something interesting, but then on your right side, you have the main business schools in the world with different names creating spaces for multi-stakeholders approaches. Stanford, MIT, Oxford, Harvard. And then you have the different titles of the center. The center we run at IAE is Sustainable Integral Development. It doesn't matter the title. The important thing is the space for protagonists to share a common challenge and face-to-face interaction, try to solve it, okay? That's the main approach. So this is the way we are doing at IAE. We start with the challenge of reality, and then we do research. In this case, it was the live case, the formation, and then you have the transformation. This live case approach, what it means a live case is the protagonist in a safe space. Safe space means that he is free to talk about the case, but the important thing is sharing the challenges. In general, people are asking going to Stanford, Harvard, to show good practices, to sell their organizations. Here is the opposite. You came for just showing the challenges and work together with the protagonists to solve them, okay? That was the case of Mujeres 2000, and in 5 minutes I will just give the floor to Belu to explain this, okay? That's the main message here. What is the difference of live case or good practice? This chart shows that the starting point is the challenge rather than the good practice. The process is active workshop rather than just listening in a conference. And then the endpoint is co-creating diagnosis and solution, a roadmap, rather than just Q&A as a conference as maybe is here. Well, this is the story. The story, we have not invited the live case, is Socrates with the Mayeutic. The only thing we did in 2010 is just to start with the presence of the protagonist in the room. Instead of reading a case, Harvard case, IESE or whoever, the important thing, you have the protagonist there. So we have Belu, we have David and all the team. So that's the important thing. You have the person in presence. What we have done, just to finish the first introduction, is if you see this part, the 5th of November, we meet at IAE, seeing the 2 live cases. Live case 1 was at the beginning with the initial challenges and the milestones. At the end of the afternoon, after 4 hours, we have live case 2. It's new challenges, learning, and a roadmap, early wins, so you can start the following day. And now we are here just to share the experience, but the live case continue because you are implementing solutions. So now the idea, the live case start with this. We spend a lot of time trying to uncover the key challenges that, for example, in this case, Mujeres 2000 is facing. That's why we are following Einstein dictum about spending 55 minutes out of an hour to try to discover the problem, and then 5 minutes for the solution. This is the key. So what we will do now is the following. Belu will explain Mujeres 2000, the initial challenges and the learning, and then we will go to Sebas to see the roadmap after November the 5th, what they have done together. Because remember, it's multi-stakeholder collaboration in practice, and it's alive because we are doing it just now. And then Fernando will talk about his learnings about the workshop, and then Arun will comment about the international organization experience in this multi-stakeholder approach. So, Belu, your turn.
Gracias. Bueno, como les contábamos al principio, Mujeres 2000 somos una organización que trabajamos con mujeres de todo el país en distintas situaciones de vulnerabilidad social, y lo hacemos para promover su autonomía económica a través de un modelo integral en el que buscamos promover la educación financiera, la inclusión financiera, el acceso a una vivienda digna y el acceso a la educación superior. Esto lo hacemos con un modelo de acompañamiento cercano, con un equipo de personas voluntarias y a través de nuestros 3 programas. El programa Emprende, el programa Mujeres en Obra y el programa Acceder Estudiando. En el programa Emprende lo que hacemos es desarrollar, este año cumplimos 25 años, así que hace más de 25 años que venimos dando cursos de gestión de emprendimientos, cursos de marketing, de finanzas, comunicación, presupuestos, y además entregamos microcréditos a esas mujeres para que puedan iniciar sus negocios o impulsar los que ya tienen, acompañadas de mentores y mentoras. Y en Mujeres en Obra entregamos también microcréditos, pero en este caso para que puedan acceder a una vivienda digna, para que las familias puedan tener un baño que a veces no tienen, para que se puedan separar los núcleos familiares, muchas personas viviendo juntas, lo que genera hacinamiento. Entonces, para eso es ese microcrédito, y además hace 2 años las estamos formando en albañilería para que ellas también sepan construir sus viviendas. Y por último, trabajamos con las mujeres más jóvenes de los barrios populares para que puedan acceder a la educación superior. Ahí lo que entregamos son becas financieras que las van acompañando a lo largo de toda su carrera, y además el grupo de voluntarias y voluntarios en estos casos estudia algo parecido o la misma carrera para acompañarlas en el desarrollo académico, porque la mayoría o todas son primera generación de universitarias en su familia.
Well, she's explaining about Mujeres 2000. That is an NGO with 3 main lines. Well, the focus is just to develop the economic independence of vulnerable women in at least 3 cities, but you are expanding your business. And the 3 main lines are first education, the second one formation, then the second one is habitat, because they are teaching them how to build their own houses. And then you have the important thing there about the one, yes, sorry, it's just to say, okay. And then is job creation through entrepreneurship. That's the important thing. So they can have the economic independence from their own, not just depending on other people.
Y cuando llegamos al taller del IAE, llegamos con 3 desafíos muy puntuales. Necesitábamos desarrollar una estrategia para conseguir más financiamiento para poder llegar a más mujeres con microcréditos. Necesitábamos una herramienta en la que podamos tener el historial de las mujeres unificado, saber, como les contaba, tenemos 25 años y hay mujeres que han sacado microcréditos con nosotras hace 7, 10 años. Bueno, saber cómo fue todo ese recorrido, hoy no lo teníamos, y además automatizar todas las tareas, la aprobación del pago, cuando entra un pago, que lo sepamos nosotros, que lo sepa la emprendedora, que puedan tener acceso a los contratos que firman con nosotras, a las notificaciones, el seguimiento. Ese era el problema con el que llegamos al taller.
Thank you. So when they started with the live case, the initial 3 challenges they defined were just financing. The second one was a tool for unifying ledger of all the beneficiaries, and then to automatize the whole process. These were the 3 initial challenges. Just an observation, when we create a live case, I don't intervene in just judging the case. I just receive, and the only thing I do is that they are not selling the company or the organization, and then that they are well framed. The only thing I do is that. So that were your initial challenges.
Pero cuando empezamos el taller nos dimos cuenta que empezaban a emerger otros desafíos, y esos desafíos eran transversales a la organización. Eran desafíos más grandes que no habíamos visto, como por ejemplo, no podíamos seguir desarrollando procesos operativos y procesos de medición de impacto en paralelo. Todos nuestros procesos operativos no nos estaban dando los datos que necesitábamos para mostrar el impacto de lo que hacemos, para mostrarle también a los financiadores, a los posibles personas que nos acompañen, aliados. Entonces ahí teníamos que estar seguras de que nuestros procesos eran limpios para poder automatizarlos, y además que esos procesos operativos nos iban a traer los datos que necesitábamos. Y por último, esto nos hizo pensar también en cuál era nuestra teoría del cambio, cuál era la transformación que queríamos ver en las mujeres, porque esa visión de mundo, ese propósito tenía que teñir todos los procesos operativos de medición de impacto, de automatización que íbamos a desarrollar.
Excellent. So the new learnings after the live case, after 2 hours of work together with the multi-stakeholder approach, were first, before automatizing you need to have healthy processes. The second one was connect this to impact. It's not just to receive money. You need to show the impact that that money is having. And the third one, you need a theory of change to guide the process.
Y esos fueron todos los desafíos resumidos, pero nosotros llegamos con 3 desafíos y salieron 15 desafíos en el taller, así que fue bien interesante. Y de ese taller, que fue el 5 de noviembre, a hoy, pudimos empezar a implementar algunas cosas y avances bien concretos. Nos juntamos con Seba, que ahora nos va a contar, empezamos a desarrollar y a pensar en una aplicación con tecnología blockchain para poder resolver todos estos problemas operativos. Además empezamos a armar todo nuestro mapa de relaciones, de redes de inversores, y empezamos a implementar Salesforce para poder tener todo este historial de contactos que les contábamos.
Okay, so after the live case, there is a roadmap, because from 5 to 15 challenges. So what is the what the purpose of the live case? Just to have more challenges. No, the idea is to see the reality with different lenses and then finish with the roadmap. So Sebas is, well, she mentioned some part of the roadmap is just to connect. That was the purpose, to connect the builders with the founders. And then you have other stakeholders that are present to give their views alive, there in presence. And then Sebas will explain us what happened after the live case in these 2 weeks.
Ok, bueno, cuando yo llegué a la residencia de Funding the Commons, yo ya venía con ese proyecto desde Colombia. Yo soy de Colombia y venía con ese proyecto que era básicamente un peer-to-peer de préstamos entre personas y todo mediante blockchain. Al conocer la necesidad de Belu y de Mujeres 2000, se está haciendo como ese proceso de migración bueno, vamos a poder adaptar la plataforma a la necesidad de la fundación, a la necesidad de las mujeres, de que todos esos procesos dejen de ser manuales y engorriosos, a que sea algo más automatizado y mucho más sencillo para tanto la fundación, para tanto las mujeres a la hora de pedir su préstamo, a la hora de pagar su préstamo y a la hora de querer ver más allá de cómo ha sido mi trayecto, cómo ha sido ese inicio y ese fin que he tenido con Mujeres 2000. Y entonces, en ese momento nos encontramos como en esa fase de co-crear, vamos a co-crear juntos, yo tengo la plataforma, ella tiene la fundación, ¿qué más podemos hacer para poder seguir construyendo ese camino?
Well, thank you very much, Sebas. I should add that you have an very active participation in the live case. So the important thing that the roadmap, yes, I'm doing the translation, but adding something more. Now I'll go to the experience. But the important thing that in the roadmap, the co-creation started the roadmap in the same meeting. So what Sebas was telling us that he has a platform developed in Colombia. So when he understood the real challenges of Mujeres 2000, so in the meeting, that's why I mentioned that the co-creation started in the meeting, because you have many proposals, because you have the solution in Colombia in your hand. So what he was explaining to us, that it was the adaptation of this platform to the real challenges in terms of processes and automatization that Belu mentioned before. And now I'll go to Fernando, give the floor just to talk about your experience and then connect to the international organization, because you have 2 projects funded by UNICEF.
Me tocó participar en el caso en vivo, como les contaba y charlábamos antes cuando preparábamos la experiencia de cada uno. Yo, cursando un MBA en el 2017, conocí a mi socio, renuncié a la empresa que estaba trabajando y arranqué la startup que hoy es Xcapit. Cursando ese MBA, analizamos y vimos un montón de casos en particular, y analizar un caso en 4 páginas, en 3 páginas o en un párrafo de algo que pasó es completamente distinto a lo que vivimos en el IAE, con un caso en vivo, con un emprendedor contándote lo que le está pasando y trabajando y aportando desde las distintas visiones para que él mismo entienda lo que tiene que hacer o qué llevar hacia adelante. Así que fue muy interesante y le di una vuelta distinta a lo que yo conocía o trabajábamos con eso. Desde nuestra perspectiva aportábamos como desarrolladores y con nuestras experiencias pasadas. Particularmente nosotros venimos desarrollando hace ya 8 años distintos proyectos, y los últimos 4 trabajando con el UNICEF Innovation Fund, con 3 proyectos diferentes, que ahora Arun va a contar un poquito la experiencia del UNICEF Innovation Fund trabajando con nosotros.
Thank you, Fernando. Well, the first, he he is just mentioning the difference between a live case and written case. It was the first experience after how many years of 6 years of experience after doing your MBA in Córdoba. And in the live case, well, he was explaining the difference because you have the protagonist there, but the important thing that because the idea is a multi-stakeholder approach, he's one of the protagonists as well. He's not a passive person there. So he was understanding the challenges again and try to build the solutions. And what he's adding to what Sebastian mentioned, that when he was listening to the real challenges, he was connecting to the 3 projects you already have, 2 of them financed by the international organizations, and that's why now we have Arun here just to explain the multi-stakeholder approach from his experience in UNICEF, but also in particular financing this project with Fernando. Thank you. And now it's easier for me because he will speak in English.
Thanks. As far as multi-stakeholder approaches are concerned, the UNICEF Venture Fund's purpose is to discover early-stage startups who are working with emerging technology like Xcapit, and then encourage them through providing funding so that they can develop open-source digital public goods. So that process itself, our internal process, is quite multi-stakeholder intensive. We speak to our donors, we get their needs, then we finally decide to put out a call, and then startups like Xcapit apply to us, and then of course we fund them. So that itself is a pretty intense process. Now with Xcapit's story, so they came into our fold in 2021. We funded them the first time to develop a wallet for financial inclusion. And then the second time we funded them in 2024, I think, for a second round of funding to develop an account abstracted wallet which works on SMS. Again, in this case, the intention was to see if we can deploy it with stablecoin infrastructure so that we can deliver aid to those people with no internet and no smartphone. And our experience with Xcapit was so good that they even helped us in between these two to execute on a DAO pilot that we wanted to do. So Jose, Maxi, Anto, so all of them helped us to think through DAO mechanics and then to look at tooling. And then they sort of put it together for us, and they really helped to execute that as well. And the relationship still continues because again, talking multi-stakeholder, the SMS wallet, which I just mentioned, so that is going to be combined with yeah, okay. One last point. So the SMS wallet is going to be combined with products built by 2 other startups. So it's like 3 startups that we've had. Can you hear me?
1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, quickly before the, yeah, I think the resistance is clear. Yeah, so one last point. Yeah, so their product is going to be combined with 2 other products built by other startups. We're bringing it together, and then they are working with an NGO in Kenya to sort of pilot stablecoin delivery. So that's like 4 stakeholders plus UNICEF as an advisory role, actually. So that's fantastic.
Thank you very much, Arun. I know you are aware that we are, again, it's like a live case. In fact, this is live case 3 in the methodology. Live case 1 at the beginning of the workshop, 2, and now this 3. Because here, again, we are learning as well, sharing the experience. If you see, we are 4 sectors here. You have the builders, the companies, you have the civil society organization, you have Funding the Commons, is another international NGO, and we have the international organism that is not the government, but they are funding many projects in many countries. And then you have academia here. So maybe if we have a government official, we can have the complete 5-helix model. Belu mentioned about a theory of change and one of the learnings. So The important thing is every academic has his own approach, but the important thing that you see the theory underlying this. So I will show you in the last 7 minutes we have the theory of change underlying the life case methodology, and then to push forward the next steps in developing not only Mujeres 2000, but also we were talking about funding the commons as well, as a methodology just to empower what you already are doing in the organization. So the next slides, I will try to explain this theory of change, and then we can talk about questions. Well, this already is there. I said the starting point is the challenge. David, I have 7 minutes in total? Okay. So are you ready? We are going backwards, I think. Here we are. Okay. When I saw this chart the first time, for me, oh, this is just a mapamundi. It's a word. But then when I saw that, for me, it was amazing. And this was one of the origins of Web 3, because the promise of Web 2 was something that it didn't work very well, because this is the size of Apple, so the 8th potent of the world. I hope that there's no economists here, because I compare the market cap with the GDP of the countries. But you know, here is no democracy, nothing. It's just one company. So, and then you say, well, it's capitalism. Why you are criticizing? I'm not criticizing, I'm just showing, nothing to do. But then when you see the next slide, the impact of job creation, this is key. Because if you are big, but you are providing jobs, so it's excellent. That's why Web3, blockchain, that democratize, in fact, even entrepreneurship, you have plenty of entrepreneurs here. It was a huge promise based on this big challenge. So these are some experience we have with Amazon Web Services. There were other organizations in Latin America. So we have, again, starting with the challenges, we decided to see, for example, in the case of Brazil, you know, the pandemic was terrible. So big questions like, for example, how can you approach 40 million people in the middle of the pandemic? So how can you marry technology with the grand challenges? So technology at the service of grand challenges. This is Distrito Económico Buenos Aires. Last night we have a very nice gathering, and the governmental person in charge of the oldest districts in Buenos Aires was present. But this is the challenge they have in the IT districts, because you know, the talent is scarce. So, and you have many companies, they are big companies competing over the same resource. Well, this is another project. I have many slides on this. This is about sustainability. So the important thing is how you go from degradation to regeneration. Now the key word is not sustainability, is regeneration. So you are just putting air conditioning to the air. So what is the common good? Because we are talking and funding the commons, we are talking about commons. What is the common good? So here you already know about the SDG, 17 goals, so many goals. You don't have focus here. So when I researched this, I have an interview with the creator of this, is Jeffrey Sachs, and then we were going to the economic Nobel Prizes, what they say about that. So the important thing is the change of paradigm. Pay attention on that, because we have an idea of impact. What is impact? Is economic growth or is development? So going to the economic Nobel Prizes, there is a transition from economic growth towards integral development with the 4 dimensions, the human, the social, well, you know, you have international organizations, just a multidisciplinary approach on poverty, for example. So here, well, I need to translate this in Spanish, I'm sorry about that, but it's at the level of society, we're going from prosperity and economic prosperity to development. That's the key point. And here it's important to understand Web3, what they can do. So many of you, like, well, the project Fernando now is consulting on impact on the Web3. So the important thing, what is the lens I use to define impact? That's key. One thing is economic growth. This is the old theory. We need to go towards development and the common good. Then at the level of the company, this is very important, because Milton Friedman was economic Nobel Prize, and he said that the purpose of the firm is just to increase the profits. But then, this is very important. 180 most powerful companies in the world, this is a business roundtable, they changed the purpose statement from maximizing shareholder value to create value for all the stakeholders. So this is a change in the paradigm. It's very important as well for the builders and all the companies involved in Web3. Well, there are some indicators, I can leave this. But the important thing here is there is a transition, a theory exchange from profitability to value creation. And what is the role here of Web3? Is what are the areas of purpose we need to develop? Now you have B Corps, different companies that are not just for profit, they're going for impact. Well, this is just the connection of the interrelationship with Web3. I will not read this. It's just to see how the real world is connecting to the virtual world of Web3. This is a work we did with the Dean of Berkeley and Ray Miles. It's about collaborative entrepreneurship. We are talking about multi-stakeholder collaboration. There is a theory underlying this. It's not just a fashion. Web3 is not a fashion. It's based on what really need. We are showing you Nobel Prizes, people doing research. So there is something underlying these changes that are happening. This is with Linda Grato, London Business School as well, the work we have done together with her. And then with, oh no, sorry, I'm going the other way. Here we are. And now the key word is, Michael Porter, you know, is the father of management. First was clusters, and now is ecosystems. And the important thing here is that, and this is the last slide, when we are talking about the common good, the ecosystem level is the most important one. Because when you have the property here is community, public or private, and then when you see the mechanism of governance, you have the market, the government, or the ecosystem. When you are creating network goods, common goods, the ecosystem level is the best one. The one we have done here with the live case. Well, thank you very much for your time. I don't know, David, if there is time for questions or we shall finish here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.